Time to fly, time to fly. Never give up, we won't retreat. The ones who stand up.
Hello friends, and welcome again to another Street Fighter Duel video. In this video I'll be talking about the cars and the 3 out of 6 and 6 out of 6 for units, and what is the most important units to build, especially as free-to-play we're talking, and from early to late to mid-game, in every aspects for PvP bossing or for story mode. First of all, the most important unit for progression and early game to build and focus on the cars is the 3 out of 6 cars for B Zangief. Now his 3 out of 6 cars will add 20% more stun chance to the units, and it will increase the damage for the stunned unit for 20% within the time bracket of 1 second, which you can pull with some certain carries. 6 out of 6, don't rush it. You will be needing it late game, not early game. Early game you will not have problems with lacking of damage, you will have problems with survivability, and his 3 out of 6 is super important for early game. Late game you can build him for 6 out of 6. He's a must late game because you will be lacking damage more than survivability, or you will be lacking both. So B Zangief is one of the most important units. He's the top priority unit for 3 out of 6 cars. End of story. There's no discussion about this. We talked about this so much. So the next unit, and after you get Bison to triple S, he's the priority to go full 6 out of 6. His 3 out of 6, his Psycho Absorb will go and attack the enemy that killed him and he revived back, but he will deal 25% less damage and will not take healing or can't be healed. But it's so important because it's a DPS check. When you're lacking damage, this will add a lot of damage to your lineup. His 6 out of 6 is also very important. It's whenever the enemy goes below 40%, his Psycho Absorb will deal soul damage equal to 40%. If they are less than 40%, it will deal almost 200% of soul true damage and execute them. No, we can also agree, and we all know that sometimes 40% is it's not enough for them to die from it because their HP exceeds the 200% attack that he deals with true damage, and they will not get executed. That's true, but whenever you get them to, let's say, 5%, 10% or less, and their HP doesn't exceed the 200% of his attack, then they will die. It will be execution 100%. This is why we say always put all the items, level up all the items, do the investment on his gears to max out everything that gives him attack. Now, this is also for almost mid-game to late game when you get him to triple S. I know people are struggling to get him to triple S for divination. It's very hard. So let's focus on the more friendly to free-to-play units. Now I'll be talking about this specifically for early gamers and for people that are using Mad Ryu and they don't want to change. They want to keep him as carry. If you want Mad Ryu to keep him as a main carry for you, you need to understand one thing. You need him at 6 out of 6, or you'll be lacking in the content and you will not progressing fast. His 6 out of 6 is insane for him. His only problem, and why he's not recommended to build at all actually, is because he lacks survivability, and he needs maybe a small rework for him to shine again as we thought he was supposed to be. So his 6 out of 6, when the total HP loss that he gets from the enemies or from himself that he inflicted to himself is 100%, he will gain permanently extra 70% damage. Now this is huge. It's not 70% attack, 70% damage, because if he gains 70% more to his attack, it means his attack, let's say, is total of 100, he will still be dealing 170 damage. But if it's about damage, because if it's damage, then if he gets buffed and his attack increases or the damage increase that he deals to, let's say, 120, then you get 70% of the 120, not of the 100. This is why it's important for him if you're maining him. My advice, don't build him. Build him to a certain point to get him at like plus 20 or plus 10. Maybe he works in some certain areas. You will not use him in that much of content. He's a starter unit. He lacks in late game, mid game. In bossing, you can use him if you built him up completely to 6 out of 6. If you didn't, no need. There's other units that need more investment and will help you throughout all the content. Now for bossing, Cammy, you need her invested fully. I won't recommend that also. She needs to be 6 out of 6 cars and plus 30. If you are free to play and you have the option to build Guile and Viper, go for them 6 out of 6 plus 30 first to build them, and they will help you in bossing, they will help you in events, they will help you in chapters, in towers, everywhere. But for me, I'm going strictly for bossing units and events. So this is why free to play have this kind of choose and pick where to go. Not everybody, I'm talking about normal casual free to plays. Of course, hardcore free to play players can do massive stuff and go to events and grind and do like 100 retries. I do that and we get the best results. But if you're not a hardcore player and you need a specific unit as free to play for bossing, for like third teams, second teams or whatever, Cammy deals the most damage of them all, and Fashion Blanca. So you need to focus on these as for events and bossing. But it's not recommended by me. Skip her, keep her at +5 for assist skill, maybe build her a little bit higher so she deals that much damage on assist. Now, as we talked about this, let's leave it there. So now your main carries, Guile and Viper. Guile is 100%, his scars are not needed early on or mid game, they're needed late game. Late game it will add, because the +6 it will give him 7 stacks. 7 stacks of the cap will be 7 stacks of the saber stacks, and it will gain like +14, -14 defense for the enemy, and this will help you on the long run. For early game, you need him. He shines at +30 on his exclusive. His 3 out of 3 cars is not that helpful. It's helpful for him because he's only ranged, but you don't have only allies and other allies on the team, so it's not that important. So Guile is one of the units that we built 6 out of 6 later in the game. For Viper, it's so important for her. This is why you see her embossing, shining in every boss almost, and it gives her that survivability. Her 3 out of 6 and 6 out of 6, 3 out of 6, she will give her when she drops, or any fighter in your team drops for 40% or below. It will remove the energy armor that she have or anybody has, and they will gain a shield that is 10% of their max HP. You'll say 10% is not that important. It is important. It negates 10% of the damage, and this is important even if you have a healer. And why her 6 out of 6 is amazing, because no longer remove the armor energy. So if you have a healer on your team, you go lower than 40% on your HP, you gain that shield. If you get healed, you go more than 40% on your HP. If you go back to under 40% of your HP, she gained the shield again. This is why she's so important in PvP, and she shines. She's the queen of PvP for free-to-play players. Even regular and pay-to-play players are having her on their PvP lineups. She's a queen on PvP. 100%, you need to get her to 6 out of 6. Now, other units that I need to talk about, which are Abel. Abel is his cars are amazing. I would recommend to go for 3 out of 6. Go 6 out of 6 after you finish your priority list. His 3 out of 6, he'll gain a shield that will be 4 times, will be moving upon the allied units. So this shield will stick on the battlefield and it will help you a lot. Now 6 out of 6, it moves to 6 times, and it's really good. And it's not the most important cars, but it's really good and helpful. Now, one of the units, when you get to mid game and late game, you will obtain it on mid game. He's a must rush to 6 cars. This unit is amazing, incredibly must rush. I tried. I've been lucky on my account, but I will try to get 6 out of 6 for him cars. So the 3 out of 6, it will 5 instances of additional damage caused with wildfire. It will give you, he will taunt, and he will gain an undispellable shield equal to 30% of his max HP. Now at 6 out of 6, this shield, whenever he gets hit, will inflict 100% of the damage taken to the enemy that inflicted the damage, which goes actually to 1 million or 2 million sometimes, and it's true damage. Of course, it doesn't exceed his 300% of his attack, which is amazing. With buffs, it will go to 2 million, 3 million, which is an addition. So even without attacking, getting attack will deal damage to your enemies, and it can kill them. Must have, very important. One of the units that I need also to talk about, Street Poison. There's no need to get her to 3 or 6 out of 6 if you're using her on a normal lineup. It's specifically bossing cars, and you need to start with her super actually to gain the 35% more damage and to fill your combo gouge for 200, and it has an interval of 12 seconds, so you can't spam your combo meter with it. And it's a lot of investment for just bossing, and it works with units that doesn't depend on their super, on their they depend on their C1, C2, C3. Like Guile depends on his C3, Akuma on his C2, but he needs his C1, his super. And the C1, you can use somebody like Jury, but it's not that important. The cars will give you at 3 out of 6 if she starts with her super. The C1, C2, and the C3 of other units will deal 30% more damage. You can use Chun-Li with her, and she will buff you with her C1, and Street Poison will buff with her super when she have the 3 cars, but it's not very, very recommended. I would say just keep her at 0 cars, and late game, whenever you fill and build your other units, you can use her. Chun-Li, if you're not maining her, not building her max out, her 6 out of 6, you can leave it for later, because she needs to deal 20 attacks with crits for her to trigger. For 15 seconds, you'll deal 15% extra damage and crit damage. So extra 15% extra attack, 15% extra crit damage. Not that super important, but later in the game, you'll need every single bit of percentage of attack. So she's a late game investment if you're building her, very situational. One of the units that I need to talk about is Honda. His 3 out of 6 is very important, and he's a must. He's the second tank in the game, or the first tank in the game, that you need to build him to 3 out of 6. It will give you this bullet wall, and it will prevent 5 attacks of range. It will negate them all. You're not gonna take damage. Let's say poison against you starts and hit you with her super. You'll take 0 damage from it. And at 6 out of 6, his desperation also gives you that bullet wall. So it's a must for me. I'm going 6 out of 6 personally. If somebody asks me, should we go for Honda 6 out of 6? I know it doesn't work always, because if they go so close to Honda, the attack will go through. But if you know how to play and you can manage it, you will understand how much it's important, especially for PvP. It's a unit that negates damage, actually. Also, there's a unit that I needed to talk about, Dalsim. Now, Dalsim is the only unit that never shines unless it's 6 out of 6. Dalsim is a unit that's a must go for 6 out of 6, especially for the guild. It's strictly for the guild Shadowlands, 6 out of 6. His penance will have infinite stacks, and you'll deal incredible, amazing amount of damage. There's no unit fighter in the game that will deal that much damage for you in the guild in Shadowlands more than him. I'm talking free-to-play, guys. Of course, you whales or paying players that are watching, you'll be nagging a little bit, but yeah, don't forget, I'm speaking to free-to-play players. Dalsim is your ticket to deal and get those high scores in the guild for you to get these rewards. Even if you look at the guild, even the most pay-to-play players that I have as friends, they're running Dalsim. Of course, with Ken, that's, as you see, he's a pay-to-win character player, and he's using Dalsim, because this is how important Dalsim 6 out of 6 are. So don't sleep at him. That's all. There's a lot of units. There's honorable mentions like Zangief. 6 out of 6 is, if you build Zangief, you need to get him 6 out of 6, because he will negate the passives, especially. So he's a Bison killer. He's a Honda killer. So that's what I'm gonna be talking about. That's it for the video. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. If you didn't, I thank you for watching. And as always, stay frosty. Peace.
Time to fly, time to fly. Never give up.